Alright, guys, we've reached the semifinals of the 2025 Barcelona Open Bank Sabadell. And first up, um, wait, hold on. I firstly have to talk about the tournaments from last week, actually. But I don't. Oh, right, it was Monte Carlo. Um, Alcaraz won in the final against Musetti, like I predicted he would, and like basically everyone predicted he would. I thought that it would be straight sets. I believe I said straight sets, but it was three sets. But after the first set, where Alcaraz was just spraying the ball, he basically just locked in after losing that first set 6-3 and won the next two sets 6-1, 6-love. And yeah, Musetti got injured, but I believe he only got injured either at the end of the second set after he was already down by a lot, or at the beginning of the third set. So he would not have won this match anyway, even if he was not injured. Let's be honest. He might have lost a final set 6-2 maybe instead of 6-love, but he was not going to win against Alcaraz in this match, let's be honest. So Alcaraz is the champion in Monte Carlo. It's quite funny, actually, that people, many people were complaining about Alcaraz being inconsistent because of his results at the Sunshine Double, and he has now become the only player this season other than Felix Auger-Aliassime to win multiple titles. And it looks like he can certainly win at least one more clay court title in this clay season, if not more. He is the favorite to win here in Barcelona. He is the favorite at the French Open. He is probably the favorite in Rome and Madrid as well. Let's be honest. I have picked him to win the French Open at the end of last year, and I will not change that prediction. I mean, the guy has found his form again, unsurprisingly. He's Alcaraz. He is Alcaraz. He's not going to be bad for like a whole season just because he has been bad for a couple weeks. Bad. We call it bad because he lost. Like, he didn't even. It's not like he lost against bums either. He lost. Let's Draper, Lehechka, Goffin. These are good hardcore players. So you cannot just expect him to win every match he plays. He's already won another title, Monte Carlo, and is the favorite in these other clay court titles as well. So you really can't just write him off like some idiots, I will call them, did just because he didn't defend Indian Wells and won it for the third time. He didn't win for the third time in a row, and he lost in the first round in Miami. These losses will occur. Okay, you cannot expect him to win every match. You can't just say he's finished. He's done winning slams because he had two or three losses. So he's not going to be bad for an entire season just because he was bad for 2 weeks or whatever it was. He can be bad for an entire season in the future, maybe, but it doesn't look like this season. He has already won two titles, a 500 and a Masters. So, and he already won the 500 before people started complaining about his inconsistency. So he had already won a title. So it's already not even like a terrible year where he doesn't win anything. Already won a title in the beginning of the year. I mean, yeah, I guess it could be a terrible year with winning one title, but whatever. So anyway, on to the semifinals here in Barcelona. Let's start with the Russian Karen Khachanov taking on the Dane 6th seed Holger Rune. They've actually never faced each other before, which is somewhat surprising because these guys have been mainstays on the tour for the past few years. Khachanov a little longer. He is like 6 years older than Rune, 6 or 7 years older. But yeah, these guys have never faced each other before. I don't think that hold on, let me pull up the stats real quick. Yeah, let's look at the stats. Khachanov, he defeated Davidovich Fokina in straight sets, and Rune defeated Casper Ruud also in straight sets. Despite that, neither of these players actually played that well. So I think this can be a close match. Khachanov, in his match against Davidovich Fokina, he served 63% first serves in. That is a little too low. He will want to get that higher. And he did 29 winners and 23 winners and 29 unforced errors. So he did 6 more unforced errors than winners. So this was not Khachanov's best performance. He actually went down 5-2, love 30 in the second set. And then of course, we saw a classic Fokina choke after he served for the set at 5-3. And they had an epic game, I believe, with many deuces, where Khachanov broke back with a running forehand passing shot winner, which was quite spectacular, actually. And they ended up reeling off 4 games in a row in total, actually 5 games in a row, to win that set 7-5 after being down 2-5, love 30. So, fantastic effort by Khachanov to turn that second set around and get this done in straight sets, but this was still not his best performance, I will say, judging by the stats. Holger Rune, on the other hand, everybody was complimenting his performance, but I am not fooled. This is, I believe he can still play better, though it was a solid performance, perhaps. This was not Rune at his best, I do not think. He served only 53% first serves in. That is pretty low. He will want to get that higher, too. He did 15 winners and 20 unforced errors, so he did 5 more unforced errors than winners. Very similar numbers to Khachanov. And hence why I think this match can be close. Rune was actually 4 love up in the first set, but he ended up winning that 6-4. So he kind of let part of his lead slip. So even though he got this done in 2 straightforward sets, maybe the first one was actually not as straightforward as it originally looked like it was going to be. Maybe he should have actually won this like 6-1, 6-2, if we're being honest, or 6-2, 6-2, something like that. But yeah, I think this match can be close, but I will give the edge to Holger Rune, because I believe that he has been returning a little bit better than Khachanov. So I will say that Rune defeats Khachanov in 3 sets, but I think this can certainly go either way. Also, they've never faced each other before, so you can never tell what's going to happen. And now on to the second semifinal, which is, of course, the top seed Carlos Alcaraz, who is a 2-time champion here in Barcelona. And he is on 12 or 13 match winning streak, because even though he didn't win last year, but he didn't play last year, so his winning streak is extending from 2022 and 2023, where he won the title back to back. In 2023, he didn't lose a single set on the way to doing that. And now he has won 3 matches after skipping last year because he was injured for most of the clay court season last year. He is now back and extending his winning streak in the Spanish city. I believe he's only lost here in this tournament like once in his entire career, which was on his debut in 2021, where he lost to Tiafoe. And since then, he has won 13 matches in a row at this tournament. So he's becoming the new Nadal at this tournament. And I probably just jinxed him, because I don't think he's going to win as many titles as Nadal did at this tournament. But let's face it, nobody is going to do that. He won like 10, 11, 12 Barcelona titles, Nadal, something like that. As we all know, his numbers on clay are absolutely insane, and we can't expect them to be replicated anytime soon, if ever. If ever. In the year 4000, there might come another crazy guy. But even that seems hard to believe, and obviously none of us will be around to see that. So the world will eventually explode or something in millions, billions of years. It's possible that in all that time, no one will ever win 12 Barcelona titles again, like Nadal did, or 10, 11, 12, something like that. Before the world ends, his record might still be there. We'll have to wait to find out if there is an afterlife, which I don't know if there is, but there could be. So I'd be interested to see if I somehow end up in a decent afterlife, or a place where I can see how the rest of the world plays out. If that's even going to be the case, which it might not be. I'd be interested to see if this record ever does get broken in billions, millions of years. But it might not. But anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. Alcaraz has taken on the 7th seed Arta Fils, whom he just defeated on his way to the Monte Carlo title. And that might have actually been his most difficult match on the way. I predicted Fils to win that match, actually. And he almost did. He most certainly could have won that match, but he choked. He won the first set 6-4, and then at 5-all, he had love 40 to break and go up 6-5 and serve for the match, but he choked and didn't serve that out. I've already gone over this. It was not like Alcaraz was amazing on those break points. Fils had the balls to attack. He messed up. Then in the final set, he was also up a breaks 3-1. And I think he lost 5 games in a row or something at the end to lose at 6-3. So Fils most certainly could have won that match, but he choked. And now he is going to get a chance to take revenge on Alcaraz in his home country of Spain. So the head-to-head is 1-love because that was the only time they faced each other, which was just last week in Monte Carlo, and obviously that was on clay, and obviously Alcaraz won, like I just said. Fils advanced to this semifinal via retirement after only playing 2.5 games against Tsitsipas before Tsitsipas retired from the match. I don't know what was wrong with him, but I am happy that Fils is in the semifinal, not Tsitsipas. I'm not saying I'm happy that Tsitsipas was injured. I'm just saying that I think it's a more interesting match to see Fils versus Alcaraz than Tsitsipas versus Alcaraz, because Alcaraz owns Tsitsipas. He's like 5-love or 6-love against him. And he actually beat him here in Barcelona the last time he won the title, which was 2 years ago, in that final. 2 straight sets, 6-3, 6-4, quick and easy, something like that. It was 6-3, 6-4, 6-4, 6-3, something like that. So, Alcaraz owns Tsitsipas. I mean, and I think maybe even most of those matches have been on clay. He has defeated him at the French Open the past 2 years, both in straight sets. So Tsitsipas just can't really do anything against him, let's be honest. So that wouldn't have been that interesting of a match because Tsitsipas doesn't have a chance against Alcaraz. But I think Fils has a chance. I mean, we could see that in Monte Carlo where he had the chance to win. So he clearly has a chance, but yeah, you can't really take much away from these stats because they played like two games. So I won't even bother reading that. But Alcaraz, he defeated de Minaur in straight sets, which was no surprise. Obviously de Minaur can never do anything against Alcaraz. He might get lucky once or twice after their careers are all said and done, and maybe he can steal a win when Alcaraz has a bad day. But for the most part, he can never do anything against Alcaraz. He can never do anything against Sinner. He can never do anything against players ranked higher than him 90% of the time. And that is why he is now 0-4 against Alcaraz. So I will basically never pick de Minaur to beat Alcaraz or Sinner or pretty much anyone higher than him. I mean, maybe he could sometimes beat some people higher than him, but not Alcaraz and Sinner, and not most of the time. So obviously this match was no surprise. 2 straight sets, 7-5, 6-3. The first set was actually somewhat interesting because de Minaur was up a break twice in the set. But, of course, he couldn't get the job done, and it got to that 5-6 game. He felt a little pressure. Alcaraz snatched the set point, and then it was over. So, de Minaur, 52% first serves in. Yeah, that's a pretty normal number for him. Alcaraz, 69% first serves in. That is actually good. But Alcaraz this was not a brilliant performance from Alcaraz. He did 16 winners and 34 unforced errors. So he did 18 more unforced errors than winners, more than twice as many. And this is not any surprise because he did this, I believe, maybe even multiple times in Monte Carlo last week, yet he still won the title. So this was not Alcaraz at his best, but he did more than twice as many unforced errors than winners. So if that's at his best, then it ain't looking that great. But he doesn't need to be at his best to beat Demi Noor, because Demi Noor just doesn't have enough that can trouble him in his game. Um, so this is a bit of a tough one to predict based on the circumstances where Fils played a match where he only played 2 games. Last time I said that I picked Fils to beat Alcaraz, but he let me down. So I'm going to pick Alcaraz this time. But maybe it can be interesting again. They just showed it to be interesting in their last match. So I will pick Alcaraz to win this in 3 sets again. I don't think he has lost a set in this tournament so far in the 3 matches he has played. He was actually close to doing that in his first match against Ethan Quinn, the American, where Quinn had a set point in the second set tiebreak at 6-5, but he choked. He just panicked and he rushed to the net, even though his shot, the forehand that he hit, wasn't nearly good enough to be an approach shot. And Alcaraz just hit a good quality backhand that Quinn could not do anything with. And then he proceeded to lose the next couple points and lose the tiebreak and the match. No surprise there, of course. But anyway, going over my predictions again, I think that Holger Rune will defeat Karen Khachanov in 3 sets, and Carlos Alcaraz will defeat Artur Fils in 3 sets. And I think we will have a final between the top seed and the 2-time champion, Carlos Alcaraz, and the 6th seed, Holger Rune.